Don't touch that drawer. Forget the phone. You know me?
You're the ghost of Ebenezer Scrooge.
The name is Bronson. Stan Bronson. I broke out of the state pen 2 days ago. You read newspapers, don't you?
Sorry, you were smiling in the picture they printed.
It was an old picture. Anyway, I quit smiling 10 years ago when they handed me a bum rap and sent me up for life. I wrote you more than a dozen letters asking for help, and not one answer.
I have a very heavy nail.
Don't make jokes. I was told you helped the innocent.
If they are, I do.
I didn't break out of jail for kicks. I'm innocent. And all I want is a chance to convince you.
You can start right now by using that phone.
What for?
Call CR 77722 and ask for Lieutenant Weston.
I mean, give myself up.
You want me to listen to your story or not?
You on the level, Mr. Maris. You are on the level. All I want is a square deal. Get me Lieutenant Weston. Lieutenant Weston? This is Stan Bronson of State Penitentiary. You can pick me up at Herbert L. Maris's place anytime you're ready.
I've been approached in all sorts of ways by all sorts of people. But Stan Bronson was the first client I ever had who broke out of jail to get my help.
You know anything about my case?
Yes, you were convicted of the murder of a silversmith by the name of Pete Mills.
Then you did read my letters.
I also read the transcript of the trial. It was a just verdict.
Testimonies were a pack of lies.
According to the transcript, you had the motive for murder.
So I had a motive. Pete Mills was a creep with oily hair and pointed shoes who made passes at my wife. I didn't love the guy, but I didn't kill him.
The whole neighborhood knew you'd threatened him.
10 years ago, I made a lot of threats. You know why? Stella was a real beauty when I married her. She'd go to the corner for a loaf of bread and half the neighborhood followed her home. And she loved it. How do you think I felt?
Most husbands are proud of their wife's beauty.
I was proud. And I was in love with her. Every time she ran off, I went out and found her and brought her back again.
Did she run away often?
As a matter of fact, yeah. But I don't want any lectures. I want to talk about the night of the murder.
I remember you didn't have an alibi.
What you mean is I had no defense against the liars who were protecting Eddie Rocco.
Still accusing Eddie Rocco after all these years. At least you're consistent.
He did it, Maris. On the night of the murder, I saw him come out of the silver shop. That was at 9:30.
And where were you?
In Kansky's bar across the street having a drink.
Kansky swore he didn't see you till 10 o'clock.
He lied.
He also swore that he never saw Eddie Rocco. And your wife swore you were still at home at 9:30. How can you be in two places at the same time?
They all lied, every one of them. I was with Kansky at 9:30, and we both saw Eddie Rocco come out of the silver shop. And that's the truth.
What happened then?
Eddie Rocco joined us. The three of us had a drink, then Eddie left. Finally, I went across the street to see Pete.
And he was dead when you got there?
Yes, he was dead.
The police caught you as you left the premises. How'd they get there so soon?
Obviously, Kansky phoned them the minute I left his place.
He must have had some reason.
Well, he had some cock and bull story about wanting to protect Pete from me. Oh, I was sore at the guy, sure, but not enough to kill him.
How do you explain that when the police got you to the precinct, you found Eddie Rocco there being booked for drunk and disorderly? Or are you trying to tell me that the police lied too?
Look, Mr. Maris, I can't explain everything. All I can tell you is I was in Kansky's bar at 9:30. I saw Eddie Rocco. He was not drunk. And I didn't kill Pete Mills.
How do you explain the false testimony that both your wife and Kansky gave against you at the trial?
I don't know about Kansky, but 1 month after I was convicted, Stella divorced me and married Eddie Rocco.
In here, Lieutenant.
Frisk him.
I'm clean.
Frisk him. Oh, Counselor, looks like I'm going to have to give you a badge and put you on the payroll.
Hey, why the cuffs? I called you, remember?
Yeah, that's right, you did. Forget the jewelry.
I kept my bargain. You going to keep yours?
I already have. I told you I'd listen to your story, that's all.
I should have known better.
What was Bronson doing here?
He wants me to reopen his case.
And that's why he broke out of prison?
So he said.
And I suppose he gave himself up just because you asked him?
Well, as a matter of fact, he did.
Wasn't Eddie Rocco tied up with this somewhere?
Well, you've got a good memory, Lieutenant.
Yes. I had a special interest in Eddie Rocco. When I finally broke up his protection racket, I got my first promotion. He's still serving time.
Tell me, do you know any reason why Eddie would have wanted to kill that silversmith?
Counselor, if you're planning to reinvestigate a case that's been dead and buried for 10 years, then do me one favor, please. Try it without my help.
Lieutenant, it'll be difficult, but I'll do my best.
You look lost. Can I help you?
I'm looking for Mrs. Eddie Rocco.
You mean Stella?
Yes.
You're about 8 years too late, chum. Who are you?
I'm an attorney, Herbert Maris.
Come on inside.
Thank you.
So what's with Stella? You inherit money or something?
Would you mind telling me who you are?
Yeah, the name's Joe. Joe Rocco.
Eddie Rocco's brother?
That's right. But Stella divorced Eddie 8 years ago. What's the pitch? She in a jam?
Would that bother you?
I hate phonies. She was born on Simpson Street, same as me. She used to wear sweaters with holes in the elbows. Now it's mink coats.
You've seen her?
Twice. She hailed my cab. You'd have thought I was a dog or something. Say, who are you? Why all these questions?
I'm just trying to find out where Stella lives.
I'll make you a deal. You tell me why, and I'll tell you where.
Oh, there's some trouble about income tax.
Oh, yeah? Well, it couldn't happen to a nicer girl. Go to Westwood, 2000-something Scenic Drive. She's now Mrs. Randy Steiger. I hope they put her in jail.
Thanks, Joe.
Stan Bronson was recaptured last night at the home of attorney Herbert L. Maris. Income tax. This is Joe. You read today's paper? I just had a visit from Mr. Herbert L. Maris himself. He was asking about Stella.
Won't you come in?
Thank you.
My husband's expecting you.
Mrs. Steiger, it's you I've come to see, not your husband.
Me? I don't think I understand.
I'm an attorney, Herbert Maris. I'd like to talk to you about your testimony at the trial of Stan Bronson.
Stan Bronson?
I'm not convinced he's guilty. Are you?
Please, Mr. Maris, won't you come back some other time? I really can't talk now. You see, my husband's here. And
Most husbands stand by their wives. Don't you think it'd be a good idea if he
most
were?
husbands know who their wives are when they marry them. Mine didn't. Please, come in now. Be careful what you say.
Any word from Jim?
No.
There's not much I can do without his statistical report.
Darling, this is Mr. Maris, an attorney. This is my husband, Randy Steiger.
Mr. Steiger?
How do you do?
I see.
Maris. Aren't you the fellow who goes around getting innocent people out of jail?
I've never heard it put quite that way.
Stella, while I phone Jim, could you get some refreshments for the boys?
Yes, of course.
I'm afraid that wasn't very subtle, but then I'm always too blunt. Shall we go in the other room? What do you want from Stella?
Well, I think you should learn that from her.
The reason I remember your name, I read about your little tete-a-tete with Stan Bronson. I also know that Stella was once married to him.
Oh, from what she told me, she doesn't know you know.
I heard it from a business rival. There are blue noses in every profession. Mr. Maris, I love Stella very much. However, if there's a scandal in the offing, I'd like to be forewarned. Maybe I could help. Just a moment. Could you come back this afternoon so that the three of us could sit down and talk this over?
I think that would be better.
Thanks, Mr. Maris. Shall we say 5 o'clock?
5 o'clock.
Hello, Jim? Where in the world are you? This whole meeting is completely useless without you.
Is there a Mr. Kansky here?
I'm Kansky. What are you selling?
I'm an attorney. My name is Maris, Herbert Maris.
Maris. Get out.
Oh, look, I only want to talk.
I know what you want. You're wasting your time. I spoke my piece 10 years ago. Now, get out.
It's not too late. You can still save an innocent man's life. Think about it and phone me.
Come in, Mr. Maris. Stella's in the living room.
I knew you'd drag me into this somehow. How is she?
Just a flesh wound in the right arm.
Oh, she's lucky.
Did you follow my suggestion?
Yes, I sent out 2 men to guard Paul Kansky, but I did something, Counselor, that you didn't think about. I sent out an all-points bulletin to pick up Joe Rocco.
Well, you think he did it?
Eddie's in jail. That only leaves Joe, who's anxious to get rid of Stella.
Somehow I never thought of Joe as a killer.
Well, that's what some people said about Dillinger. Why don't you go back inside, Counselor, and I'll have a look around out here.
Okay, Lieutenant. police are here. There's no danger now.
You're a very lucky young lady.
Please, Mr. Maris, I love you didn't tell me how lucky I am.
Cheer up. This is not the end of the world.
I'm afraid you have too many illusions about me, Randy. See, I'm not quite the child you think I am. I've been married twice before. First to Stan Bronson and then to Eddie Rocco. Yes, I've done very well for myself. Scenic Drive is a long way from Simpson Street.
We can go into this tomorrow.
Oh, don't stop me now. It's taken me 8 years to get this much courage. You see, Randy, I helped send Stan Bronson to jail. That's why Mr. Maris is here. Mr. What you want to know, Mr. Maris? Yes, Eddie Rocco was with Pete Mills the night of the murder.
Are you sure, Mrs. Steiger? This is very important.
Yes, I'm sure. I called Pete at the silver shop that night, and Eddie answered the phone.
Then Bronson told the truth at his trial.
Yes.
Why didn't you tell this at the time?
Eddie told me he couldn't risk getting involved in a murder he didn't commit. He said if I'd lie about the time and forget about the phone call, he could provide himself an alibi.
And this didn't make you suspicious?
I was in love with Eddie, Mr. Maris. And I wanted to get rid of Stan. I'd run away so many times, and every time Stan brought me back, things got so much worse. Andy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get you involved in this.
We'll work it out, Stella.
Yes. We'll work it out.
Excuse me, I'm leaving a man here.
That won't be necessary.
Your taxes paid for it. You spending the day, Counselor?
Save your bad temper for Joe Rocco.
Don't worry, there's plenty more where this came from. Come on, Counselor, we've got a date with another clay pigeon.
Good night.
Night.
I've been expecting you, Mr. Maris.
Someone tried to kill Stella this afternoon. 2 policemen are guarding your place right now. We're on your side. Will you be on ours?
We know you saw Eddie Rocco at 9:30 on the night of the murder. We have a witness.
I've lived with the terrible guilt for 10 years. You're right, Mr. Maris. My testimony was a lie. I saw Eddie Rocco that night.
Then you perjured yourself at the trial.
He forced me to lie about the time. He forced me to phone the police at 10 when he would be at the precinct establishing an alibi.
Why did you do it, Mr. Gansky?
Eddie was going to kill my wife if I didn't. Eddie Rocco would have done it. I had no choice. What further punishment can anyone give me now that I haven't already given myself?
Victim Joe Rocco coming, Counselor.
We called off the men guarding Mrs. Steiger and Paul Kensky.
Good. Well. Little Joe Rocco. Finally made the big time, huh?
Lieutenant.
You were just a kid of 17 when I got my hooks in your brother Eddie. You know, I thought you were going to stand on your own 2 feet, but I was wrong.
Lieutenant, it wasn't him.
What are you talking about?
Well, we ran down his cab for speeding earlier. He gave us some trouble, so we put him in our car.
So, what's the point?
So he was in our car when Mrs. Steiger was shot.
What's this talk about a shooting?
Someone tried to kill Stella Steiger.
You're kidding.
I was there.
And you thought I did it?
I figured you were looking out for Eddie's interest.
Well, I guess I just stopped.
What does that mean?
Funny how you put your faith in people and all you get for it is a kick in the teeth. You want to know who took that shot at Stella?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. It was my brother Eddie himself.
Eddie's in jail.
Is he? Phone the warden. You'll find out Eddie got out on parole yesterday morning.
What?
Like the dope I am, after Mr. Maris visited me, I phoned Eddie. I didn't want to see him get mixed up again in that Stan Bronson mess.
Send out an all-points bulletin for Eddie Rocco. Inform every precinct, every cop on the beat, every patrol car. I want Eddie picked up alive, but I won't argue. Why wasn't I informed that Eddie Rocco was paroled yesterday?
There's a report on your desk, sir. You hadn't been in. Yeah. Call for you on your private license.
Lieutenant Weston.
She's gone, Lieutenant. Stella's gone. She left a note. It says, I don't want to hurt you. It's best this way. Well, that's all she says. What are we going to do?
Stella's disappeared. She's taken a powder. You send us a picture and we'll broadcast her description, and don't worry, we'll find out. I hope. Eddie on the loose, I wouldn't give you a plug nickel for her chances, sir.
You're very optimistic.
Well, I'm as much a realist as she is an escapist.
That's it, Lieutenant. You've hit it right in the nose.
I have?
Stan always found her every time she ran away. Now, it's a long shot, but it's worth a try. Do you mind if I talk to him?
Oh.
Mr. Maris, you did it. I knew if I could ever get you to go to bat for me, you'd get me out.
But that doesn't help Stella. She was almost killed this afternoon.
What are you talking about?
Eddie Rocco took a shot at her. And I'd say he's out now looking for her to finish the job.
Good. I hope he finds her. What a payoff for 10 long, miserable years in prison.
Cut it out, will you? Now sit down. Stella disappeared tonight. She ran away from her husband.
You're breaking my heart. I'd like to see her dead.
You don't mean that. Now, where'd you always find her when she ran away?
Always the same place. Always when there was any trouble. If you'll go to Ocean View a couple of hours up the coast at Western Highway.
Yeah.
There's a cove on the beach. A cliff on one side, ocean on the other. That's where you'll find her.
Thanks.
Mr. Maris. Eddie Rocco knows about that cove, too. I hope you beat him there.
We'll try, Stan.
Hello, Stella. Long time no see.
Eddie Rocco.
The one and only. You've changed.
You haven't?
I'll take that as a compliment. How's the world been treating you?
Oh, about as good as I could expect.
Randy Steiger. Quite a house you've got. Real class. You come up in the world.
I know why you're here, Eddie. It was you who tried to kill me, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, Stella. Believe me, I'm not happy about being here now. You want to talk, and I don't want to go back up. What else can I do?
There'll be others to talk.
One at a time. I'll take care of them.
I guess I always knew it'd end here. What else would have drawn me to this place? I was only 10 years old when I first ran away and came here. I named this cove the end of the world. They say that life started in the ocean, that beasts crawled out of the sea and became men. I guess we should expect some to revert to beasts. You know, Eddie, you and I are a lot alike, aren't we? I think we were both born with a touch of evil in us to destroy. So it's only fair that we be destroyed in turn, isn't it?
Drop the gun, Eddie! The second time I'll shoot to kill! You're surrounded, Eddie! You haven't got a chance!
I'm going down there.
Let Weston handle it.
I'm going down.
Drop your gun!
Oh, take it easy, darling.
Copycat.